There was this big debate over in early 2002 inside the administration over whether the president and the executive, had to obey the Geneva Conventions and how it treated these detainees. And partially to avoid prosecution under the War Crimes Act, Bush eventually declared the Geneva Conventions simply don't apply to these set of detainees, and they had some reasons for that. The Taliban and Al-Qaeda didn't wear uniforms, they attacked civilians, they didn't have a normal hierarchy of command, they didn't look like Western or even just sort of major nation-state armies, which is, and say, well, they're not obeying the laws of war, therefore they don't qualify for prisoner of war status and they don't qualify for these protections. And that was kind of what everyone was paying attention to at that time. Should they be POWs or not? Can terrorists be a POW the same way that a captured, Nazi in World War II was a POW or something like that? But, it turns out that it was sort of a distraction, because the real issue was not POWs who get this elaborate set of protections and get to have musical instruments and such, that these sort of things that are Alberto Gonzales described as quaint, right? Although David Addington, according to the Post, actually wrote that memo to the president. But the real question is a section of the treaty that applies to all prisoners, regardless of whether they're official soldiers or not, all wartime prisoners. It's called Common Article 3, and it says all prisoners must be treated humanely. No prisoners of any type can be tortured. If you're going to try prisoners during wartime, they have to receive a fair trial. And so by saying that, well, they didn't obey the laws of war, so they're not POWs, but then making the leap, not only are they not POWs, but the Geneva Conventions as a whole just don't apply to them. It was sort of to set aside that whole legal regime and have these set of prisoners be sort of subject to, purely to the mercy of executive branch officials and whatever they decide to do with them.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.